Welcome to the Curious Head channel. Here you will find a variety of interesting facts and amazing stories on a variety of topics. Subscribe now so you don't miss any updates. When we are children, some interesting and curious questions arise in our mind. Do fish feel thirsty? Do they drink water? Well, to answer these questions, it is necessary to understand whether these animals really experience thirst like we do, and also how water interacts with other substances, such as salt, which is soluble. Then comes osmosis, a process you've probably heard about in chemistry class. Were you curious to unravel the questions above? Then continue with the video. Do they really feel thirsty? To determine whether fish experience this urge to drink water, we first need to understand the concept of thirst. The professor of compared animal physiology at the Federal University, Euclydes Antônio dos Santos Filho, defines thirst as the sensation that leads the animal to look for water. He explains that animals need to maintain a proper balance between the amount of water in their cells and the solid particles present in them. We humans, and other land-dwelling animals, are constantly losing water, either through sweating or breathing. When our brain notices this loss of liquid, it sends the message, "I'm thirsty," to get more water. But what about the fish? Euclydes claims that thinking about the classic thirst to look for water doesn't make much sense to them. After all, they are immersed in water all the time. However, there is a process of exchanging fluids with the external environment that is very similar to our concept of drinking water. How does this happen? The amount of water that a fish ingests depends a lot on the salinity level of the place where it lives. Fish do ingest some water, either salt or fresh depending on the environment, through their mouths, but most of it is absorbed through their skin and gills through osmosis, a process in which water passes through a membrane, going from sites with low amounts of soluble substances to sites with high amounts, until the cell reaches an equilibrium with the environment. Think of fish as small boats with leaks in the water, explains Tim Grabowski, a marine biologist at the University of Hawaii, in conversation with the Live Science website. There is always movement of water or salts present in the water back and forth between the body of the fish and the external environment, he says. Now, let's understand how fish in the ocean satisfy their thirst. How do saltwater fish hydrate? Seawater has approximately 35 grams of salt per liter, while the blood of most fish has about 9 grams of salt per liter of the same substance. This difference causes the fish to constantly lose water to the external environment, at the same time that it is invaded by salt in its body and cells. In short, saltwater fish are always thirsty. These fish have to find a way to retain the water they drink from the ocean, but at the same time get rid of the salt. To do this, they have special cells in their gills called chloride cells, which work like little pumps actively pushing salt out of the body. They also produce urine, but in small amounts, as they want to retain as much water as possible. And when they urinate, their urine is extremely salty. Freshwater fish. Freshwater fish, on the other hand, face an entirely different challenge. Too much water can be harmful as it dilutes the salt in their bodies, which is essential for regulating blood pressure and keeping muscles working properly. Because of this, these fish spend all their time trying to get rid of the water that enters their bodies and never intentionally drink water. To deal with this constant flow of liquid, they urinate incessantly. But don't worry, fish urine is mostly water. Like oceanic fish, freshwater fish also have chloride cells, but in this case, they work in the opposite way, absorbing salt into the body instead of expelling it. Ultimately, regardless of the mechanism, the key to keeping fish hydrated is finding the perfect balance of water and salt. Thank you for assisting. Sign up and leave a like. To the next